rack and 9 ball has a key shot in it, but I see it more as a key position. And if you don't get in that position at that certain time, the rack's either going to be difficult for you to run or you should be out. There should be no excuse for you getting out. If we take a look at this table, we might be able to see a few problems right off the bat, but when we reduce the table down one shot at a time and take a look at shot to shot to shot, we can begin to see the main problem with this rack. So we can see the one's pretty simple, it's just a straight in shot. There's not a whole lot you can do with the cue ball other than draw it back a little bit. The 2 to the 3 shouldn't be much of a problem, but that one in itself can be a little deceiving because we have to go. The cue ball is going to be in the center of the table when I shoot the 2 ball, so I'm going to have to wrap around the table and go to this route and then this route to get back on the 3. So when I shoot that 2, I need to draw it a little bit closer to that corner pocket over there so it has a sharper angle coming off the side route and getting on the 3. Otherwise, you could overroll the 3 and wind up somewhere on the side or the back of the 3, and we don't want that in this case. So we've determined the 1 to the 2 is not a problem, the 2 to the 3 is not a problem, and the 3 to the 4 is not a problem. But now we get to a point, let's take all those balls off the table, and we can see a serious problem here. Because if we look at the 5 to the 6, now we see one is all the way down table in the center of the table, and the other is all the way back up the other side of the table, center table. So that would be the key issue, the key problem with this rack, but not necessarily the key shot. You see, the problem is not making balls. The problem is getting in the right position to keep this game easy so we don't have to make any hard shots. We need to figure out the easiest possible way to run this rack. And so the question to ask is, what position do we need to get on this 5 ball to get back down there on the right position on that 6 ball? And so we can easily decide that we absolutely do not want to be on the left side, this side of that 5 ball, because that 9 ball is going to be getting in our way and we're going to have to maneuver around it, and it's just going to complicate everything. So it's safe to say we want to be on the other side, but we also need a good angle on that side, or the right angle on that 5 ball, to easily get back down there on that 6 ball, and the right place to be is here. So this is what it's all about. If I can get in this position when I'm shooting this 5 ball, I'm going to win this game. If I can't get in that position, I'm going to have to struggle to do the best I can. Now, all this might sound arrogant to you, but it's really not. It's just how you see a game of 9 ball before you ever shoot. You need to figure out what's that key position to running this rack, and in this case, this is it. And the reason I can say this is because if we get here, do you remember the video, The Color of Cash? If you haven't watched it, I'm going to link it right now up in the top corner there for you. You can pause this video right here and click that, and that should open in another window, and then you can pause that one and continue watching this and watch that one later. So if I get this cut on the 5 ball from this angle, it's going to bounce off that bottom round. Now we see this big super highway going down the table. I mean, that's the mega Autobahn right there. You can't screw this up if you get in this position. And as long as we get some kind of angle on that 6 ball, now I know I can get straight in on the 7. We can afford to do that on the 7, and the rest of this game is just ducks. It's just stop and shoot. See, the problem is because some people's brains are not yet trained, it doesn't mean you can't train them. You can. I did. You can too. We look at a table after the break and we see this complicated mess of a billion different problems. So what we have to do is learn to train our brain to reduce it all down to the simplest way of thinking about it. So let's go back to the beginning, and I'm going to show you another way to further simplify all this crap that you're looking at in front of you. Now we know the key is to be in that position on the 5 ball, but let's take a look at the whole table and find a pocket for each ball. Does the table look a little less complicated to you now? Or maybe even a lot less complicated? Everything seems clear, kind of like target practice here. That's good. That's what you should be seeing when you look at a pool table. Look at this massive amount of room we have in the middle of the table. And unfortunately, you can't play a center ball strategy on this whole rack, but you can with some balls. I'm not even going to get into that because that's not what this video is about. What I want you to see is all this room you have to maneuver around to get the right shot on these balls. And don't forget, once we get rid of that one ball, we have that super highway opening up straight up and down the whole table. Now let's push it further and see what happens to our brains when we start plucking these targets off. Alright, now that you know how to think, let's go do it. And again, you have to draw this two ball a little bit right hand English and a little bit of draw because you want to push the cue ball. You don't want to hit the 5, but you want to push it as close to that corner pocket as you can get it. I could have pushed it a little closer, but I was a little worried about hitting that 5 and not getting around it. So I came up a little bit steep on the 3, but that's okay. I can just use the right hand side rail to get back on the right angle on the 4. And you could say this right there, that shot was the key shot because it gives me the right angle on the 4 to get to that key position on the 5. But then things just get really complicated. You could say the 3 is the key shot, the 4 is the key shot, the 5 is the key shot. This is why I focus on the key position. And it's right here, and I got on it. And I know at this point I've won this game. The hard part's over. I focused all those shots on getting to that key position. And you can see I get right on the 6. So now, before we shoot the 6, let's go ahead and flip it back all the way to the beginning and play 1 through 9 like it was nothing. Peace, guys. Thank you for tuning in.